Welcome back again to this brave new world where an old comic book collector is moving into this fun and fancy new world of manga and exploring values on eBay. Today I'll be looking at last week, so it's May 22nd, the Saturday, to Friday, June 2nd, 2023, eBay values English language manga. And I always start with the collections, so I wanted to do something a little different with collections. Like the way I look at collections, it's basically the total value, right? So you're going to have something that's a 41 volume collection will have a distinct advantage over something that's a 4 volume collection because the 41 volumes will probably sell for more money, even though the 4 volume might be, $50 per book, which is really good, right? So I wanted to give a little love to those small collections that always sell for big money. So the first 5 of my honorable mentions are basically those types of collections. So let's get started and I'll show you what I mean here. So Sunran Kagura Skirting Shadows volumes 1 to 3 is only 3 books, but it sold for $125. That's like $41.67 per book, which is really good. And that's from 7 Seas 2013. The next honorable mention for the collections is one that always does quite well, and it's Kill la Kill volumes 1 to 3. And even though it's only 3 books, this time it sold for $160. That's like $53.33 per book, and that's from Udon Entertainment 2016. The third honorable mention is one that I always see and has never appeared on the list, but it always does pretty well, and that's Jim Henson's Return to Labyrinth, volumes 1 to 4, and this time it sold for $199 or $49.75 per book, Tokyo Pop 2010. Honorable mention number 4, again, and I have had this one before, it's Lady Snowblood, volumes 1 to 4, $250, $62.50 per book, Dark Horse, 2005. And my final honorable mention for these small little collections that are very loved and usually go for good dollars is Bio Manga, volumes 1 through 6, $300. That's $50 per volume, Viz Media, 2010. I do have one more honorable mention, and this is going to get to one of the books that's on the singles list, and I just wanted to show you that this is probably a good deal to buy as a collection. This is Exholic Omnibus, all 7 omnibus volumes, plus Exholic Ray, volumes 1 through 4, so 11 books in total, went for $314.66, about $28.61 per book, Kodansha 2014. Keep that in mind once we get down to the singles, specifically number 2 on the singles list, $314.66. Okay, let's get into the actual collections where I'm looking at the total dollars for the entire collection. So number 5, Shugocha, volumes 1 through 12, $462.68, that's $38.50 per volume, Kodansha 2012. Number 4 we've had on the singles a number of times, especially volumes 4 and I believe 5 and maybe 7, Triage X, volumes 1 to 22, $483.75, it's about $22 per book, Yen Press 2012. Collection number 3 has been appearing off and on, and I see it quite often going for decent amounts per book. It's Bokurano Ars, volumes 1 through 11, $534.93. That's like $48.63 per volume, Viz Media 2010. Number 2 I see sell all the time from Malaysia. It's good when it actually and a legitimate Viz Media copy sells. So this is Slam Dunk volumes 1 through 31, $598.50 American, $19.31 per volume, Viz Media 2008. And finally, number 1, and I don't know if this is like a coming out of the woodwork effect, but This is Knights of the Zodiac, which is also Saint Seiya. Volumes 1 through 28 went for $679.67. You might as well call that $680, about $24.27 per book. Viz Media, 2004. I've seen a lot of Saint Seiya on the eBay sales lately, and I think once people realize that people want it, all of a sudden copies become available. This is a case of demand and then supply. Speaking of demand and then supply, let's get to the singles. And I've seen a lot of Trigun that's still out there on the eBay sales, but I gotta say, overall, this is not a good time to put up your Trigun for bid. Let's start with my first honorable mention for singles. It's Trigun Volume 2. Had one bid, $37.50. Dark Horse 2004. A few weeks ago, this was selling for $90 to $100. And I was saying Trigun Volume 2 is actually more valuable than Trigun Volume 1. My honorable mention number 2 for singles is one I love Masumi and Shiro, I really do. It's Appleseed, The Promethean Challenge, Volume 1, $75. Dark Horse, 2007. And speaking of Masumi and Shiro, honorable mention number 3 is Ghost in the Shell trade paperback, uncensored. $80, Dark Horse, 2006. The reason this one went for money is because of that uncensored word. Basically, in most Ghost in the Shell publications these days, there's 2 pages they never print, and they're of course the naughty bits that you really don't need for the story, but this particular trade paperback from 2006 has them in there, and thus that's why it's going for $80. Honorable mention number 4 didn't quite make the list, but it's Lupin the Third Volume 9, went for $89.97. Tokyo Pop 2003. I'm seeing a lot of these old Lupins go for respectable amounts. They don't quite make the list, but I wanted to make people aware that they're not, especially like the upper volumes, aren't that cheap. And the final honorable mention for singles this week, number 5, is Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt Volume 4. Yes, we've seen that one many times before. Just missed the list at $92. Viz Media 2017. Okay, with those honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the top 10. These are my special effects, by the way. You know, you got to do something. Anyway, number 10 is, we've seen it before. It's One Piece Volume 20, gold foil, $96.70, Viz Media 2009. For number 9, we actually have a tie. 2 different ones went for $100, and one of them we've seen quite often before. It's the Shonen Jump magazine, issue number 1, sealed, still in the plastic. $100, Viz Media, 2003. As I said before in a previous video, if it's not in the plastic, they don't even sell for close to this amount. What it's tied with is a series we've had before, but not this particular volume. We've seen issue number 8 of the 2-in-1 Full Contact Edition, which is a beautiful book, by the way. But this is Tenjo Tengi, Volume 11, went for $100. Viz Media, 2013. Number 8 is certainly no stranger to the list. It appears incredibly often. It's Fruits Basket, Volume 23, went for $104.49 from Tokyo Pop, 2009. What it's also showing me that maybe condition is starting to play a factor into some of these prices, because I'm going to show you a sale for an ex-library copy that literally went for like $13. Number 7 is also a, let's call it a final edition or final volume premium. It's Lovecom or Lovely Complex Volume 17, the last volume of the run, $105, Viz Media 2010. Number 6, we've had, it's a Barnes & Noble exclusive. We've had the Volume 1 on here quite often, but it's Tokyo Ghoul Monster Edition. This time it's the second volume, collecting, I believe, 4, 5, and 6. $119, Viz Media 2019. Number 5 was kind of a weird one for me because it's Astro Boy Volume 1, and I love Astro Boy, don't get me wrong, but normally Astro Boy is put out by Dark Horse in America, and it's really not worth that kind of money. But this one was a little different. Well, first of all, because it sold for $121.37, but also it's put out by Chang Yi, and this one's out of Australia. So much more rare than the Dark Horse publication over here. So kind of interesting, good to see. But if you do want some Dark Horse, number 4, it's actually 2 books. It's the Trigun Maximum Omnibuses Volumes 1 and Volume 2, $260 or $130 a piece, Dark Horse 2012. Like I said, it's not like the bottom has dropped out of the Trigun market. It hasn't. It's just that they're not going for the same amounts they were before the reprint was announced. Number 3, I really have to give a shout out to Stairway to Zeppelin on my comments last time, and this is regarding the Spirit Circle manga, in that it looks like they've definitely republished Volume 6, but he made an excellent point about Volume 4, and I don't think that one has been republished, which is why the series was so valuable. So just to prove his point, number 3 is Spirit Circle Volume 4, $175. So that's basically why that whole series from 1 to 6 went for so much money. Of course, Spirit Circle is from 7 Seas, and this one was published in 2018. Remember up in the collections back a few minutes ago when I said like the Exolic Omnibuses Volume 1 to 7 and the Exolic Ray Volumes 1 to 4 went for $315, and I said that was a really good deal? Well, here's why. This is number 2. This is just the Exolic Omnibus Volume 4, $195. Kodansha 2014. That's amazing. Also in the collections, I mentioned that we had the coming out of the woodwork effect. So it's like all of a sudden, if you have the demand for, in this case, Saint Seiya, a lot of them were selling pretty well. If you're sitting on them, odds are, if you're not that attached, you're going to list them on eBay, because if people are making, between 100, 150, even 200 on their Saint Seiya, why not, right? You can buy more manga. Number 1, Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac, Volume 16. This is not from the same seller that it was that had the run. $215.22. Originally published Viz Media 2006. So I'll put up as usual, the screenshots of the collections. It's kind of glad I got to do like the little mini collections that always sell for good money. If something's averaging like $50, $60 per manga, that's amazing. It doesn't always get reported, because you look at, like, for example, like a Slam Dunk, which has 31 volumes, which is a very loved series. And in this case, it went for, over $19 per book. It is always going to sell for more than something like Kill la Kill, which is only 3 books, right? Okay, let's break into the singles here as well. I had to put on that Trigun, I'm sorry. I know, it's not to prove a point, because as you can see, like number 4, the 2 Trigun Omnibuses actually went for $130 a piece, which isn't that bad. But I will say last week, the number 1 Trigun Omnibus went for $226 alone. Take from it what you want. It's good to see the Saint Seiya on there. It's funny about the Exolic books, because I never see them, but all of a sudden it's like, boom, out of the woodworks. This is an out of the woodwork week, I guess. Nice to see Ghost in the Shell on there. Lupin the Third. If I have the time, there's a certain Lupin the Third video I'd love to do, and I hope I get to it. And it's also interesting to see the Astro Boy, that Chuang Yi. Was kind of interesting that, all of a sudden these are pulling in a premium when you can buy like a Dark Horse Astro Boy for literally cover price or less at this point. So anyways, that's it for this week. Thanks again so much for watching. Next week for sure, and I'll try and get out another Lupin related video here shortly. Talk to you later. Bye bye.